Good morning. We'll call this regular scheduled meeting of the Nicholas County Commission to order. Today is Wednesday, August 7th, 2024. Would you check real quick to make sure it's recording? Because I didn't see it. Yes, sir. Okay. That being said, do we have anyone here for public comment period? If you wouldn't mind to check the list. I'll do this after. We do not have anyone for public comment, so if one of you gentlemen would like to begin with the motions, please.
I'll make a motion that we review and waive the reading of the minutes for the July 24th, 2024 meeting.
Commissioner Chapman has made that motion.
Sorry,
That being said, that motion is on the floor. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against, the motion does carry.
Upon review of the exonerations as presented by the Nicholas County Assessor, move to approve accordingly.
That motion is on the floor. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those against, the motion does carry.
Upon review of the estate and fiduciary matters as presented by the Nicholas County Clerk, move to approve accordingly unless otherwise noted.
That motion is on the floor. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those against, the motion does carry.
Upon submission of budget revisions received from the elected officials and department heads, the commission will take appropriate action as deemed necessary.
That motion is on the floor. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against, the motion does carry.
Upon review of the invoices as submitted by the various departmental officers, the commission will take appropriate action as deemed necessary.
That motion is now on the floor. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against, the motion does carry. For terms of office expiring, we do have three appointments to be made on the Nicholas County Airport Authority for the regional appointments. And also we need to establish the term of each of these offices when we do these also.
Now, is this typically one where they volley like us?
How do you all do it usually for
They want all three at one
so
time?
far?
I think they're on 3-year terms.
That
Does
sounds
that
very
sound
cool.
right?
So we do one, 2, 3, or all three? They're all at once.
Could you have Mary get the Airport Authority current membership list with their terms of office
Is that
expiring?
statutory? Is that board created by statute
is.
with the number of board members?
I don't know about board number of members.
Could you table that until the end of the meeting and I'll look?
This is a whole change with Fayette County coming into.
Right, becoming
So
regional.
they have to change even something right there.
You wouldn't want them all come and do it once, would you, all three?
I'm sorry.
You wouldn't want all three of them?
No, you wouldn't. Stagger the
Stagger
terms.
them all.
If you would stagger them, I think that's the best if we can.
Yeah, you don't want to change.
Well, yeah, I tell you what, if everybody's okay with that, we can table at the end. Patty, if you just notify Mary to get that ready before
Who cycles out?
10:30. What?
Yours? Okay, so she's got a couple of years, I think. At least 2. So she couldn't go 3.
Yeah.
She could
Do
go
her
2.
2.
Yep.
But do this one, this one 2, this one.
So Chris 1.
You're
Or Allison 2.
Yeah, the county is staggered also.
This guy, probably.
That is a good point, so perhaps we'll table that within mind to give legal counsel a moment to review. That being said, just real quick, we received and we'll forward to the Nicholas County Fair a certificate of recognition from Senator Joe Manchin III on behalf of the citizens of the Mountain State, and as your United States Senator, it is my distinct honor to recognize the Nicholas County Fair as they celebrate their 99th annual fair from July 24th to July 27th, 2024. Thank you for providing memories for the people of West Virginia through amusement rides, good food, and live music. Events such as the Nicholas County Fair provide summertime fun for people of all ages. So we'll forward that to the county fair. That being said, we're coming up on the appointment of Oscar Tharp Estate File number 9170, appointment of fiduciary commissioner. As to my understanding, legal counsel, that we do have a fiduciary commissioner willing to work on this file number.
That's correct.
Okay, and Clerk Painter, what is that fiduciary commissioner?
He's got that.
He's overruled. But that being said, is there any discussion or motions to consider E. Scott Stanton to be filed as the fiduciary commissioner on Oscar Tharp File 9170?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, that motion is on the floor. Any further discussion? Any further questions? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against? Motion does carry. Now, we're here with the Honorable Assessor Ernie Dennison and Bobby Markham regarding an overpaid commercial property tax account number 085494499. And Bobby Markham was recommended to the commission here by, again, the Honorable Assessor Ernie Dennison. So, Your Honor, the floor is yours.
Thank you, gentlemen. First thing I'd like to give you, I just want to give you a copy of the code. This is a guideline to follow along as to how this, if you rule for it to be done. It's just a guideline on erroneous assessment. In this case, we have had, this one, gentlemen, is a legitimate error. And that being said, the Markhams have filed their taxes properly in the time manners that they were supposed to. They took, and this is concerning coal trucks, and with the trucks being plated as an assessed by the county, but it was also taxes was being paid to the DMV. And the reason being, if you have trucks that run across state line, you have what's called a portion tax. Therefore, you have to pay the fees when you get your license with the DMV in order to split the dollar amount for crossing the state line for the fuel tax or whatever it may be, road tax, whatever they may have. In this case, trucks was turned in to us, we assessed them. They was paying the taxes through DMV for their portion tax. So it is a true error. The reason that this has happened is because you would think, okay, why isn't there a catch-all or whatever, that if it shows up portion tax, you don't assess it. Whenever the DMV changed their system or whatever, this is concerning tax tickets, goes back to 2019. They, instead of on the DMV file saying a portion truck after it, the only way that you could tell is DMV issued, and I found this out just whenever this problem arose, the tags will be BA on them. So if you see a truck on the road, a B tag has to stay in the state. A BA tag can cross state lines. So that's the only way. There was no other ID on the DMV to catch these. Now this is concerning James C. Markham Trucking. We have the assessor's office made the correction for the 2024 tax ticket that just come out. They are coming to request that they receive their money back to 5 years. Bobby, you stated that it was, actually, it's even longer than that, 10 years that this has happened, okay, with the double assessment. They just caught it this year. and brought it to my attention. So, you are requesting whatever relief or refund you could get for the last 5 years, right?
Yes.
Till 2019. So, I have done the calculations for this. And, you know, as a refund or as a credit. But it's up to you to make that decision.
So that money would normally go to the state, that's how it should go. And
The
county
money
would
did
assess-
go to the state.
But on a normal year, the county wouldn't assess anything in the state.
Right,
Okay.
we shouldn't have assessed it.
Right.
That's why they're coming to us and not going to DMV. These trucks was run across state lines. That's doing everything correct. Actually, on this one, these forms that was done on these business assessments was worked by me with Wayne Young, CPA, for their company. And it just, for whatever reason, most logging companies though, unless they have contracts for out of state, run in state. So this is kind of unique too. You was running where, Virginia?
Yeah.
And so, you know, so it's just something that's different. But it is everything that has been done properly. And it's just wrong.
What's your total amount for the 5 years back?
Total amount, not including 2024, so you'd only be including 23, 22, 21, 20, and 19. The total dollar amount of overpayment by Markham Trucking is $21,246.34.
I'd be here too.
$21,246.34. Yeah.
Yeah. What's the 24 ticket?
It's already taken care of.
The 24 ticket, the correction was made, total dollar amount for that correction was $6,163.84.
Is
And-
still owed or was reduced off or?
We took it off because it was,
Right.
I could
So
correct
it's down to
1
zero.
year back, but I can't go past that without,
Yeah.
you know, you all have to do that.
And just from my own knowledge, when they pay that to the state, does the state divvy that back around to the county, or how does that work?
They would pay, if it's like with the portion tax, the county or whatever, if any money would come back. I don't think so. I think that it goes in the state fund because it's on the state plate and then it's split with the state of West Virginia and the other states involved in wherever they cross the state line. I'm not sure if any of it falls back to the county.
We do get some back on our PDs.
Okay. It's run back to the county through an IRPP. I did not know that. Now this one, also, if you find in their favor, because they also run Markham Logging. The two companies intertwine. The trucking's on one to take care of the trucking issues. The logging's on the other on the on-job thing. But if this credit was to be accepted or approved by you, they would like to have that credit for the amount to go with Markham Logging also. Or however they get the money back, fastest way they get it back. They want the cash.
Can we even do a credit jumping tax tickets like that?
We did, well, we give a credit to Caterpillar once, and we gave them cash back. That was,
Right, but it was one company.
No,
My
this-
concern is having two companies.
Now, his question, you have done it in the past and I have done it. We have done erroneous assessments and run them through. If Garrett Cole has vehicles and Garrett Cole has real estate, then you, even though they're real estate personal property, you have, they accept that on, say, because this is how I know. Garrett Cole moves out of state. He paid on the wrong automobile last year, but he still owns real estate here. that credit lays there and is not applied to your personal property because you no longer have cars in West Virginia.
Right.
So then that is applied to your real estate though that you still have here.
But jumping LLCs,
Well, they're due their money back, so.
Right.
And I can tell you, my experience with them is they run a legitimate, good, hardworking people, and they deserve to have their money back. So however you get it to them, I don't know
Well,
how
it
you can
says,
complain about that.
it says in here in the statute, it says in the event of the mistake or error is discovered more than 1 year after the property books for the year or years in question, they're delivered to the sheriff, any relief granted the taxpayer shall be in the form of a credit against taxes owing up to the following years. So it actually
Right.
says credit.
Or you could refund.
Great.
Or you could do one, kind of a combination.
Great.
I don't like crediting one company to the other. I'd rather just do cash and get it over with.
I'd give them a credit and cash, I think.
I do have it.
That's what.
They're due the money back, whatever,
Right.
however you all can figure out how to do
But
that.
a question I have is, this is personal property, but the state now ends up with our money. So whose fault was it that this was done? Was it ours, or was it the state's, or was it a combination of both?
State, I don't even know how they even regulate it. It just like it falls on the assessor, just like, you know, a lot of everything else. And then C, but on their system, like the DMV system, before I know, we could pull it up, we could tell if you had a portion tax because it'd be proportional. But then they switched their system, new DMV, you know, the whole shooting match that they're going. And the only way that we even knew it is because it was coming up with BA tags instead of B tags. So common, whatever, you know, keep it simple, whatever. B tags, large truck, A portion. That's how we did it. That's how we figured it out. But actually, see, that money should have never hit us anyway. It should have come back to that, what was it, IRP. The instruction never been.
What's the
We
tax
shouldn't have been paid
ticket?
for the instruction.
What
We
is-
just paid for part of them, but they're just B tags.
What's the tax ticket for Markham logging?
I have no idea. I will have to find out.
You're the man.
Yeah, right.
Because you're talking about, you know, form of credit for the following 2 years. Well, if this amount's still over the credit of 2 years, then we do then.
Cash. Or whatever.
I just cash today's if you
What?
How's your corporate structure? What's your parent company?
Markham Logging is incorporated and JC Trucking is a LLC. The reason we want it moved to logging instead of trucking is because trucking doesn't really have that much on there. Our tax ticket, it'll take 30 years for a credit to go to the trucking company because we don't have that much on there.
But your LLC is owned by the same owners, or is it owned by Markham Logan as an entity?
Individual.
Separate.
What was your tax ticket roughly? This is just an
Markham
estimate.
Logging
For
last-
Markham Logging.
It was around $12,000.
So 12 grand was their tax ticket on the logging only. And then these, well, you got any, Becky, any numbers of what of the taxes?
Not what it will be.
No, not what will be, what it was.
It was gonna be around $7,000 for trucking, but now it will be
Yeah, I got
probably a couple hundred.
6163
It'll be a couple $100.
is what you told me a minute ago for the trucking.
Yeah, like I know on 2024, if you had a refund of 6,100, and they're talking 7,000 or whatever, the other 3 trucks are B tags, so they are still ours, so that's like $800.
Okay.
So they're trying to see how they can recoup their money the fastest.
What's your 2024 number for Markham Logan?
Roughly
Yes, you said
12 or
Why
13,000.
don't we do the credit on the 2024 and the balance in cash?
You can make that motion.
Okay, I'll make that motion.
Okay, now, before you make that motion, has the 2024 tax ticket been paid?
No.
Good.
Alright, if they have not paid Markham Logan for 2024, we can work the dollar amount.
Well, why don't we do, that's gonna, what did your 2024's drop on the trucking company? Do you got that number?
$800 roughly. you
So
said.
let's do this. My motion will be credit for both 2024 tickets and then the balance in check
Cash.
back.
Now you're, okay, now, because you're gonna be looking at, if you're paying 12 on logging, because we've already done the credit on the,
You've done it for the big amount, but they're still gonna have a balance.
they're gonna have about, you said tax ticket run about 12,000 for the logging company, so you're gonna be giving that credit back, but then you're gonna be doing a cash refund of about
Well, you got 12,000.
10.
Then you've got the 800 off the trucking, and then the cash.
So
is what Craig's
really
saying.
gonna be a little less than that, about 8,000.
So you're gonna wipe out for 24 altogether on trucking?
You've already marked off one part.
And I walked off $6,000. But that's to come off, but that is not in this $21,000 figure. See what I'm saying?
Right, you've
They're-
already marked that off.
They're due
But I'm just saying
$21,000.
the balance,
Yeah,
after
they're-
you did yours.
Okay, they're just due $21,246.34. All right. However you do it, then you'll have to work on the paperwork or whatever you're doing.
So that
We
motion
just
is on
made
the floor.
decision. Hard one.
I like that motion too. That motion is on the floor. Is there any further discussion? The
You guys
advice from
are-
legal counsel.
I think they're due the money. However you all want to get it back to them, the quickest way that they can, I don't see any issue with that.
Do you have an issue with jumping tax tickets and LLCs?
It's no different than giving them the check back, really. And then they
Okay.
could use that money to apply to those tickets.
They're just gonna cash it, that's what I would do, I'd
Yeah.
cash it, come right back and give it to you.
Yeah, so not really.
Okay.
Unless our county clerk has an issue with it.
Okay. As long as you don't have a problem with that, I'm fine with that.
You guys all right?
Yeah, I just-
Good.
Yeah, I do the work.
But she does the check, right?
No, they do the check. I don't do the check. You do the check.
Yeah, you do.
No, I thought Angie would do it through her tax account.
Oh.
You have to talk to Angie, sir.
Well, you get ready.
That has to be the order for Ms. Patricia for the commission for
Once I
that.
get the letter
I
from
could
Ernie.
take, I will take and do the 2024 for Markham logging and for the trucking to knock off, and then I can give you
The
what the
exact
dollar amount should be after.
That motion's on the floor. Any further discussion? Any other questions? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against, the motion does carry. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
So we have with us now Cassandra Lawson, the Senior Project Specialist at Region 4 Planning and Development Council. First off, we have a discussion regarding Birch River PSD Mill Creek Waterline Extension Project, Resolution number 7.
Good morning. As referenced, this is resolution number 7 for the Mill Creek project. If you recall, the commission holds the sponsorship for the Community Development Block Grant Funds, for which we are requesting $214,465.15 for construction, pay estimate number 5. The remainder.
Did you say that amount one more time real quick? I'm sorry.
Here, I'll just share.
214.
465, $1.15.
Thank you.
So here is the Community Development Block Grant
Yes.
request. This is the total, and the remainder comes from the Infrastructure Council.
Okay.
And that project is making really great progress. The majority of the work is complete. However, when they went to hook up the booster station to the electricity, and that booster station is needed to actually pump the water, to the residents. I think Long Power advised they were gonna have to replace the power pole, so they've been a little delayed on that. But overall, everything's went pretty well. They're waiting on one additional piece of material for the booster station. To be honest, I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was, the booster station was able to function without that piece of material, so they'll still be able to get the water onto everyone, but they won't actually be able to close out the construction contract until whatever that piece is received and installed. But the project's getting very close to completion, and those folks are getting really close to having their water turned on.
Any questions or motions on resolution number 7?
Make a motion that we approve resolution number 7 for $214,465.15.
That motion's on the floor. Is there any further discussion? Any questions, anything from legal counsel? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against? The motion does carry.
This one, that's what's those.
So this is from the construction part of that resolution?
Yeah, it's just an additional form that the agency requires.
Give that back, Gary. Sorry, Commissioner. Off camera. Patty, if you'd like to take these and make copies, how about these back to Ms. Lawson?
And then I'll have one more for you to sign.
And then
As
we
well.
also have the Birch River PSD Mill Creek Waterline Extension Project Grant Amendment number 5.
Yeah, so this grant amendment is going to be a little bit unique to try to explain, but it doesn't actually change the amount of the allocation to the project. But what's happened is the development office has some funds that they were allocated in 2017 that they need to get out the door because they're getting old. The projects that are currently in this fund are from 2019, so we're just helping them swap that money out so they don't lose it at the state level.
Gotcha.
And that's all this is.
So dollar for dollar.
Yeah, and there's no change to the grant. Birch River PSD allocation is still the same.
Could we see that?
Yes.
So we're not approving a specific amount, it's just the source funding?
Yeah, so you'll see, this is the total allocation, that remains the same. They're taking $17,477 from the 2017 funds and swapping it out with the 2019 funds.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Any questions, or anybody else want to review this? Is there any motions?
Make a motion that we approve the grant amendment number 5 under the Birch River PSD Mill Creek Waterline Extension Project, which will resource $17,477.
That being said, is there any further discussion? Motion is on the floor. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against, the motion is carried. And here's another one for you here, Patty. Anything else on behalf of Region 4?
Nope, unless you all have any questions about ongoing projects, I'm happy to try to answer them, but I don't have anything else for you today.
I don't at this time. Do you have any questions?
Good. Appreciate you all.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much.
Have a wonderful rest of your day.
You said-
See ya.
I was just waiting. Okay, that's, well, I don't know how long they need on this. I'll make a motion to recuse myself, or I'll just recuse myself.
This needs changed, right?
Well, we still need to, because there may be some documents that have to be signed, like closing statements and all. So you don't have to make a motion, you just, in fact, you already have. But there's going to be some documents that need to be signed because the county commission is going to be involved in the transfer because there's cash involved. Closing statements. So someone on behalf of the county commission will have to sign those documents.
Well, what I'd like to do before we get too further in this conversation is I'll recuse myself from the room and for the remainder of this appointment here, which is as follows. At the request of Nicholas County Commission Attorney Greg Tucker, action to authorize an acting president to execute documents to complete transaction with Midstate Properties. And during the tenure of that agenda item, I would like to appoint Commissioner Gary Roberts as acting president, just to give them both a turn here. I'm going. Let me get myself into my coffee.
Where's the sergeant at arms?
Yes,
I'll
let's
fill in
work
for
that
that.
man out.
We got the survey back, and of course, PK Milam represents Midstate. He's been out, so I haven't been able to talk to him coordinate this closing, we'll have to coordinate that with the building commission, who owns the property that's being transferred to Midstate. Have we decided on how you are going to receive the property, either in the commission or the building commission?
It went back and forth for some reason. I was trying to think of what's your opinion?
I probably would put it in the building commission.
Because it's just cleaner because they already have all of that.
Yeah, and in the event that it becomes necessary to renovate and all, they have the ability to finance it easier.
And I want to see the surveys on that property, right?
Yes.
I want to see that.
I have it, I'll forward it to you.
Okay. Yeah, I think we'll let them just handle it.
Hey, Jeff.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Really?
I just sent it over. I just sent the survey to come back.
So, as the acting president, I gotta move the little title over here. No, on a serious note, I'd like to appoint Craig Chapman as the signer for all documents related to the transfer of Midstate properties. That will transfer from Midstate properties over to the Nicholas County Building Commission. Transaction, any financial transactions that take place in any documents that need to be signed will be by Commissioner Chapman.
And the other part will just be on the building commission, who they appoint.
Yeah, well, it'll be their president. We'll just need to coordinate a meeting with them. I'll try to get hold of PKC and they want to close their part of it. He'll have to prepare the Midstate documents to the county. I'll finish up the title searches so we have those done, but I would expect to do that. Hopefully we can do that in the next week or so.
So does that come in the form of a motion or just the appointment?
Probably that's a motion.
So I make a motion that I appoint Craig Chapman as the signer, it's not the law, but as the signer for all documents and anything with regards to the transaction of the property.
Motion. Well, you made the motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Your flash in the pan fame right there as president.
What's it?
Just a dumb comment.
Flash in the pan, President. All right, now we're on to the next one.
Do I appoint a vice president?
Bobby. We're good on that. Commissioner Cole. Okay. Figured you'd hear me.
He did, which was
We slid your president's sign back over real quick. I don't care.
Actually, while you were gone, you got impeached.
Yep.
It's been a fun ride.
There you go.
I served almost 6 years.
We voted
God
to-
bless Nicholas County.
You're gonna represent the commission over the next 3 years, and Craig and I are going on vacation.
Veto.
We have a lot of things to take place.
Okay, so your business is complete and you have your plan.
We appoint Craig as the signer of all documents.
Okay. Of course, the
Commissioner Chapman.
agenda will show that record. I'm sorry, the minutes. That being said, actually, perfect timing. I did have a meeting and also had Amanda Smarr and John Tuggle on. A number of people and as they joined here, just kind of give a little bit of a background. This is regarding Nicholas County broadband initiatives with some representatives and also some representatives for Frontier, as well as some outside resources that are helping them with local government entities. Basically, we had a lot of discussions about what they're looking to do in the county, some stuff that they're going after to try and continue building up their fiber operations and the expansions like that in the county. And really good conversation, and they talked about it might be a good chance to come before all three of us, because it was, requesting different data points and stuff of the county, so we really only could meet with one at a time. But now that we're all here together, hopefully we can all have a good conversation of what we're looking for and what's happened in the past. It looks like we do have Allison Ellis, who is from Frontier, and then Jennifer, I'm sorry, I can't see your last name from here. Jennifer, can you hear us? Let me ask you, Allison, can you hear us?
No, there is.
Okay, it's Jen Nelson. Yeah, I feel like the video for Nicholas County is freezing on me. Are you having that, Allison?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, maybe you all were freezing.
Good.
Well, speaking of internet, here's a good. We actually are on Frontier right now, just saying. So that's definitely a project we can work on together.
Absolutely.
So is this an open discussion?
If you would drop your devices off the Wi-Fi real quick, just to make sure we don't have that problem again.
Words and I'm.
Do you have anything extra open up?
No, just me.
Is Conrad getting on it?
A little bit jitter.
It starts where we can just hear you, and then it cuts right back off again.
Well, I do have a presentation I'd love to share. Maybe what I'll do is Jennifer and I will go off camera, if that could be helpful.
Yes, whatever you just did, we can hear you clear as day now.
Okay.
So at least we're getting good audio now.
Okay. I am not able to share my screen. It says host disabled participant screen sharing. Is that something you can change dynamically?
Can you give it a mouse? Yeah, it should just be here on your side.
That's here. The switcher, I think. If you.
Yeah.
It should be 25, it should be like 20.
Oh, is that how you can,
Yeah.
probably advanced sharing options?
Multiple.
Try that.
Okay, Allison, I think we've got a option to do that now.
Yeah. Okay, perfect.
Wonderful. Thank you.
So
for your help.
let me just, I don't use Zoom all that much, so let me just make sure that I'm sharing the right thing.
We only do twice a month and it shows, so we understand completely. And while we do that, just for the record, we do have Jordan Burgess with us here from,
I'm helping out Frontier as well.
with Frontier, and then also
John Golden.
John Golden.
Golden, Frontier.
Yes, with Frontier. So glad to have you all in person here also, just for when people watch this back, they'll see, we'll be able to see you on camera. So Allison, that being said, I'll be quiet again and let you have at it.
Okay, great. And I'm doing the Jennifer to drop just in case, if people, not just this person, I think Conrad Lucas may also dial in, who is helping Frontier with our community outreach initiatives there in West Virginia. As I previously had shared, Frontier has long been a provider in the community. We, originally deployed broadband using our copper technology that's known as copper or DSL broadband. And when we first deployed it, it was, really good. It met the needs of consumers for, over time as applications were introduced, things like Netflix and Amazon Prime and, even Zoom, what we're using today. The copper network just was really not able to keep up with the demands of consumers for a lot of reasons. Some were technical because of the physics of the copper network, but also because it's very expensive to augment and upgrade and maintain. What was happening in West Virginia, where service experience of consumers was getting poorer and poorer and poorer, that was happening everywhere across our 25-state footprint. And we, as a company, found ourselves in a period of financial distress, and we entered into a negotiated restructuring with our creditors, which is a fancy way of saying we went through a friendly bankruptcy. We completed that in 2021, so very solidly in the rearview mirror for us. But it was a very positive thing for us as a company. And you don't often say that about bankruptcy, but this was for three distinct reasons. First and foremost, we eliminated $10 billion worth of debt, so 10 billion with a B. We also welcomed an entirely new board and senior management team. And we developed a very clear, and this is our definitions with the footprint as quickly as possible. And this plan was vetted by the bankruptcy court, it was vetted by our experts, and it was vetted by our creditors' experts. These are the people who exchanged their, agreed to discharge the debt that we owe them in exchange for shares in the new company. So you can have a level of confidence that, this is a very actionable, well-vetted plan that plots a new future for Frontier. So since 2021, we've been executing on this, building fiber as quickly as possible. We've passed more than 1 million locations every year since we started this initiative. We've just announced our Q2 results last week. In that quarter, we passed 388,000 locations just in that quarter. That's pretty typical for us. It's a very high number of locations passed. We are actually the second fastest, second largest fiber deployer, just behind AT&T, which is a company that is a behemoth, and we are a $6 billion company. That's a long way of saying all.
Mix of both.
Pardon me?
Is that all aerial, subgrade, both?
Oh, it's a mix. We
Okay.
do, obviously we do aerial where we can because it's the fastest and the least expensive, but we also do undergrounding as needed and also to upgrade our transport. In West Virginia, we're a co-owner of poles, so we, in general, all of our financial performance metrics are going in the right direction. We added more than 90,000 fiber broadband customers last quarter. That's more, there are very few fiber providers actually that are adding customers at this point. So this is a really good, good metric for us. I would also just mention that, we do understand that with customers in Nicholas County and elsewhere throughout West Virginia, that they've been frustrated with Frontier and Frontier service for many years now. I mean, bankruptcy is not something that happens overnight. We were leading up to it for years. That had an impact in our ability to service our customers and fixes all of those issues. And when we look at how customers feel about us once they get our fiber service, they do a complete 180. And instead of being, very unhappy with us, they're extremely happy. They're recommending us to their friends and family. We actually have an NPS score that is six times higher than our nearest cable competitor. This is the measure that companies use to determine like how likely is someone to recommend your service, how positively do they feel about it. So it's a really important measure of that we are executing on our plan, our fiber plan, and it is resonating with customers. We are also winning awards, winning this as the fastest and most reliable internet. You all are very familiar with fiber technology, so I won't go through all of the in and out of this, but I just do want to highlight a couple of things. First and foremost is once we finish our fiber deployment, that is the fiber that will continue to support even greater and greater and greater speeds over time. So it's the infrastructure that is going to provide connectivity for decades to come. Because it is scalable, it can be augmented very easily. We don't have to do a whole new deployment like we're doing now. We just need to change out some electronics in our system and ultimately, way down the road at the end user's location. So that's a really fantastic attribute of fiber. The other thing that is really superior about fiber is its reliability. One of the reasons for not to the central point of aggregation, the more the signal degrades. So that if you're outside of town, you're going to have a poorer service, you're going to have slower speeds. It needs to be line powered all along that transmission path, and in areas where the commercial power supply is unstable, every time there's a glitch, the service is impacted, and that leads to a poor customer experience. Fiber is passive, so it means if we have electricity at our central office, which they all will have backup power, and you have electricity at your location, then you're going to have connectivity. So that makes it superior. The other thing is it is not susceptible to water infiltration. When it rains, which we know it does all the time in West Virginia, copper kind of shorts out and you can have connectivity issues. You don't have that issue at all with fiber. So it's a superior technology. It's why we picked fiber, because we've learned our lessons from copper. We're building the network for the future, not the network for the past. And the benefits of fiber are well understood. Better work opportunities, higher education rates, higher property values, more establishment of new businesses, all of those sorts of things. So when we look at West Virginia, just to give you a quick snapshot, we cover essentially the whole state. That's pretty unusual for us across our 25-state footprint. We only have one other state where we're essentially the entire state, which is Connecticut, much smaller state than West Virginia, and much different in terms of the topology of the state. We have invested $570 million since 2021. This is when we, West Virginia's been a big part of in this county, proud that we're a community. I did want to share that we have about 1,500 more that are like currently in the process of construction, so we expect to add to that number in the coming months. This gives you kind of a sense of where the fiber is currently available today. I know this isn't a perfect map, but just to give you, quick overview, obviously the black is the outline of Nicholas County, and then all of those shaded areas with the red outline, those are our wire centers. I just share that to give you a sense that there are a lot of different wire centers that are coming in to serve. That's why when you see some expansion in one place but maybe on another place, it's because that expansion is really going to be dependent on expansion. We're super proud of our competitive offers and our competitive pricing. I included on this our gig offer because it is our most popular. We are offering it for $64.99 currently. It changes from time to time, you know, with promotions, but I will tell you that that's about where it's been since we started offering the product in 2021. We do have lower tiers of service, 500 megabits, 200 megabits is our affordable offer. All of these are, you know, fiber to the home connections. They are symmetrical speeds, meaning, you know, when you order a gig service, it's 1,000 megabits up and 1,000 megabits down. That's what makes sure that applications like what we're using today, Zoom, are really high performing, that you can have multiple users simultaneously in your home. And then, of course, you know, we have striving to make sure that we're delivering value to customers. Our prices are set nationally, which means that even if an individual location in Nicholas County doesn't have a competitor at that location, the household is still getting the benefit of competition because this price is set where we're competing head-to-head with cable, you know, really tenacious markets like Tampa, Florida. So I did want to just highlight for you the BEAD program. So the BEAD program is the next tranche of federal funding that the state is currently in the process of running the grant for. So the about 100, well, this is dated information. So the dated information said there were about 2,800 of those in Nicholas County. The state has gone through a process to validate every single address and whether or not it is grant eligible. Those results are pending, but I will tell you that this number will certainly be lower. It is likely to be more in the 130,000 to 140,000 range. And Nicholas County will most certainly be lower than 2,800. How much lower really depends on how much expansion has taken place since this number was calculated both by Frontier and other providers. The state broadband office has regions, and within each region they have divided it into smaller subsets of what they call target areas. So this map is a little bit of an eye chart, but maybe let me just explain it. So obviously you have the boundary of Nicholas County, you have the red boundaries, which are wire center boundaries, and then you have all of these colored blocks with numbers associated with them. All of those colored blocks are different target areas. And the yellow bullets are the grant eligible locations, you know, as we know them to be before they're fully finalized by the state within the county. So the state rules require that a provider must submit projects to cover 100% of the locations within Nicholas County in order to win any location in Nicholas County. And the smallest size a project can be is a target area. I mentioned this in the previous meeting, but I just did want to call it out to you because you have a number of different regions that are coming into play in your county. So you have, you know, Region 14, you have Region 13, you have Region 53, Region 10, Region 8. And what this means is that your full coverage in your county is very independent of, very dependent on projects that are outside of Nicholas County. And so I just mentioned that because this is quite quite uncommon. In other counties, it's usually just one region or regions. And I just flag it for you because it does make it harder for any applicant to come in and, you know, think about how to put projects together that will cover 100% of the county, because it's impacted by adjacent areas. And I'll send you this presentation. This is an updated one to the one I shared previously, so you can certainly have this map as a reference. The broadband office is still taking input on their project areas and how they've described them. So, if you wanted to make the broadband office know, share any of your concerns with them, you certainly could still do that. Where we stand in the process is at this point, we're getting close to the time that we expect the grant window to open. So as I said, the state conducted this exercise is to determine all of the eligible addresses shared with NTIA, the federal agency that's administering the BEAD program. NTIA must approve the list of addresses. Once they do that, it will be published. And then, which the broadband office is saying will happen this month. That's a fluid date. It's not really clear if it will happen this month or not because it's dependent on NTIA. And then, of course, the application window needs to open. Again, the broadband office is saying September to November. That's a fluid date. What I did want to make sure was clear is that just what the expectation of the timeline of the BEAD project is, BEAD projects will be. The awards will be preliminarily determined by the state. They then have to go to NTIA for approval, and then NTIA will send back to the state that says this is approved, you may get these projects under contract. And so we're really looking at sometime in 2025 where the final awards will be known, the final awards will be established, and then the winning ISPs can begin the process of, constructing the networks. It's a 4-year program. Fiber projects regularly take 24, 36 months or more. There is a lot that happens in the background before you see construction in your community. So I just wanted to, maybe make that clear that there's a lot of, detailed engineering and planning and materials ordering and, inventory collection and that sort of thing. One thing that the broadband office has also done is in order to score as an applicant, you need to establish that you have community support. And they have a lot of elements to establishing community support. And, honestly, requires very close collaboration with the county. We have put together a memorandum of understanding that we have shared. It's intended to serve as a framework for our discussion and really getting to, some agreement as to the things that we can do together in order to ensure that any fiber that is funded in the community has its maximum impact. We, would love the support amid this county for our applications when we ultimately make them. We do feel it's very important that the application score as high as possible, because if there is not enough funding to go across, should be working to make sure that the applications that they're scoring as high as possible. So one horse is going to win, so that's absolutely up to you, but we would certainly love to have your support for our applications. And that's really what I have from a formal standpoint, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
I have lots.
Are there any questions?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, so what's your uptime, your actual versus your goal? Network uptime?
I'm not sure I understand that, so I just want to make sure.
So I'm assuming as a corporation, you have a network uptime that you have as a goal, that should be a company goal that trickles down into your local offices, even your COs and your employees. Most telecom providers have an uptime that they're chasing. When I worked for Sprint, ours was 99.999. We usually hit 99.995. So what are you guys looking at for how often you want your customers to have service? What's your goal?
Well, I mean, our goal is 100% of the time.
Well, I'm sure that's not what's
What-
carried on like evals or anything like that. Like, what's your realistic goal you're looking at for your network uptime?
So, yes, the way that our fiber performs, it's a 99.97% uptime. So
Correct.
fiber is a much more
Yeah.
stable, much more reliable network.
Current network.
So,
These are why I'm asking these questions.
that means that customer would experience an aggregate of 2.5 hours of downtime.
Okay, I'll have to figure out the percentage on that. What's your mean time to repair on outages? Average in West Virginia?
I don't have that at hand.
Gotcha.
I will tell you that we're constantly striving to, make it better. I think the metric is, 90% within 48 hours. Copper networks are, as I mentioned before, quite susceptible to
Right. Weather.
interruption from bad weather, and that when there's a weather event, impacts a lot of our network, and so, there is some quite frankly, one of the benefiting windstorms and things like that, it doesn't actually interrupt service to the same level.
Absolutely.
But,
Do you have a maintenance window established for scheduled maintenance? Sorry, there's a delay here. Do you have a maintenance window established for scheduled maintenance on your network?
yes, I mean, absolutely. We have, protocols and procedures for maintaining our network and ensuring that it's, operating at its highest capability.
Okay. So for scheduled maintenance, software upgrades, hardware upgrades, things like that, CO work, is that typically done in a maintenance window, and when is that? What are the hours?
Yeah, typically maintenance window, which is in the middle of the night,
Yep.
right? It's like, midnight to 6 a.m. We try to do it at times when, obviously, the potential use. It's maintenance that is provide interconnect with public safety, that sort of thing.
Absolutely. I had a couple more. Your fiber build out in West Virginia, especially with regards to Nicholas County, at what point can we expect to be off of copper and completely onto fiber? Is that the next 2 years, 3 years, 5 years? Just Nicholas County?
Yeah, I don't have an exact date for you. I can tell you that this initiative is intended to upgrade our copper network.
Gotcha.
Right, so we're not deploying new copper, it's all fiber.
Absolutely.
Ultimately, our goal is that every customer will be served by fiber.
And any like spitballs that I'm assuming a couple of years?
Our goal. Really give you an exact date. I can tell you that under the BEAD program, whether we locations or somebody else does, for fiber, will begin a score hot wants to fund. They drew the project area. There are some locations that are included in projects that are extremely high cost, are served by fixed wireless or satellite service. That's sort of a niche solution for those really high cost locations. So I can't say today that there will be bids for every single location to get fiber that's grant eligible.
So I'm just looking for basically across the board here, not literally 100%.
It's not up to me, really.
Gotcha. And then I have a couple more. Does your company have the ability to link tickets in your network, like trouble management system? Can you link tickets and you can determine the size of an outage in an area? In other words, if you go into Craigsville, just give an example that there might be 15 out in Craigsville and 115 out in Summersville, and of course your focus will be on Summersville to gain those customers quickly.
Yes, we have common cause, and we traffic tickets, but, one thing I will just say is particularly, it is sometimes very difficult to know with particularity if a single location is out, and this is why. Because the way that the network is deployed and architected, and, if you have a storm that comes through and impacts service on a street, it doesn't necessarily impact every single household on the street. And so, the network doesn't have intelligence in it, the copper network doesn't, that says, these 3 houses on this street are out and these 5 are not. That's just not the way that the network is, and the cable comes in from a different direction, therefore they're not impacted. So yes, we have the ability to track common causes and to identify scope, but sometimes it's hard, I'm just being transparent with you, to be able to pinpoint with particularity these 3 houses on this street.
I guess I was looking at it from a customer reported standpoint. If you have 15 customers report in an outage, you guys link those. And the reason I asked that is I had a issue a couple of years ago with my father, and I was working his internet that was out. And the trucks rolled in that area 3 or 4 different days in a row to fix neighbors. I called in and spoke to the customer support line, and in 1998 we had a thing called Network Trouble Management that would link the tickets by address. So that's antiquated technology. And the representatives told me they did not have any way of actually combining those tickets or determining the scope of outage for an area. And that just really blew my mind. So I watched a truck roll in 3 or 4 different days to fix one customer each day. I literally went out and asked them what they were doing because I was curious to see if I was actually being told.
I certainly, yeah.
And the restoral time, I'm talking hours versus days. I'm on a competitor.
So what I
My
will
father and I are
say
neighbors. I was
is
3
that-
hours, he was 26 days for restoral. Same pole, same wire.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to determine that. When we look at
Yeah.
partnering up with an internet service provider in our area, especially if we're going to, sign or endorse something for a county, of course, we're going to look at customer metrics, not investment metrics, and try to determine what's the best option for our residents. So that's why I'm asking these types of questions.
Yeah, no, I totally understand. What I will tell you is we are a different company than we used to be. Our new management is in a entirely different company. We have prioritized customer service in our systems, ability to respond to customer troubles, in our ability to provide customer service over the last 3 years that have really led to a much improved customer experience.
Understood. That's why I was asking some of the current metrics would be your uptime goals, your mean time to repair, things like that. We should see a drastic increase quickly with effective management. So I definitely understand that. So I'm trying not to stick out in the past, but kind of blend both to show some experiences that some of the customers have had, to include myself, and also look at some of the metrics that may have hopefully gotten a lot better with your new leadership. And we're actually, the reason I'm wanting to run a speed test here right now. There's huge latency, and we have Frontier in the courthouse. And you're choppy, it's been choppy the whole time, and I almost guarantee you that our speed test is probably going to be good, and due to probably overburdening to the network, we're hearing lag and when you're talking and presenting out to us.
Do you happen to know what service do you have?
At my house?
No, yeah.
Frontier.
Yeah, but what?
No blue.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, we lost her.
Yep. So, and that's my thing, not trying to be mean or anything, but when you look at the customer service aspect of the county,
Sure.
I hear nothing but complaints, nothing but complaints. And if I could even go say, hey, by 2025, 2026, 2027, even 2029, we're going to be completely over to a fiber network, which is going to be more reliable, more scalable. We're not seeing overburdening the network, because I've seen a lot of customer growth.
Recording in progress.
I've seen 92,000 customers added in Q2 2024 with a network that maybe won't support that. Of course, I have connectivity, but my speed is overburdened, and latency comes about just because of the network being overburdened, too many customers pulling too much data.
Yeah, so maybe let me just be clear. Fiber does not have any of those capacity issues that you're mentioning. It is a dedicated connection to the home. Yeah. So if you order a gig service, you're getting a gig service symmetrical to your home. There's not a congestion, there's a limitation of capacity. So integrations with the copper network are totally avoided at fiber network. So just before, copper is very much a old technology that is getting increasingly outdated, and it has put down service, that sort of thing, that you just don't have fiber network.
Understood.
Recording in progress.
And I definitely understand. I mean, you've got repeaters, regenerators, you've got more points of failure. I mean, I definitely understand all that. So I'm kind of bouncing back and forth, like when can we tell our customers that we can expect fiber, which would bring in the reliability, the scalability, no latency, that type of thing. And then, just what are your overall company goals with regards to that? Because I know after I left Sprint, they went from a 99.999 to an 80% uptime. That means 20% of the time my service is going to be down. That's horrible. That's a horrible metric to have as a company, but that's them. I can't speak for that. So if I know that you have solid goals, you're able to hit those, attain those, we're going to be switching over to fiber, which has all those benefits. You guys have excellent costs. Your familiarity with the area is superb, and then you have the existing infrastructure, like you said, with the poles. So you've got your pluses, but I'm telling you, from a customer standpoint, I hear nothing but complaints from my constituents in this county.
Yeah, so what I would encourage you to do is we have a high level of today's demands. I would encourage you to talk to some of your, some of our fiber customers in Nicholas County. Their experience is going to be totally different.
Absolutely.
So, from a first-hand standpoint, we find that when we bring fiber into an area, and we've already brought fiber to, about 2,400 Nicholas County residents, that word of mouth is like, ugh, it used to be terrible, but it is fantastic. You need to get this.
Absolutely.
And so, our product is speaking for itself, really.
Understood. So, and that's why I said in the long term, if I'm looking to, further support RDOF or BEAD funding, when will that hit? Because my understanding is that you guys have locked up a lot of the RDOF for the state of West Virginia. That's a 7-year, I believe, term. You guys are 2 years into it.
So here's RDOF. Yes. We won about 80,000 locations in West Virginia. Not all of West Virginia, but it is
a chunk,
it is a large portion of it. In Nicholas County, I'm just referring to this, we have 4,600 RDOF locations that we won support for.
And how many of those have been completed?
Pardon me?
How many of those have been addressed, completed, upgraded? That money actually?
Yeah, we have already done RDOF projects. We have
4,600.
more coming this year. I don't have an exact number for you, but I could get it for you.
Okay.
But I do just want to maybe make sure that there's an understanding about the RDOF program. So the awards were announced in 2020. They were not finalized for some FCC reasons, not Frontier reasons,
Right.
FCC reason. We did not get our final award until the middle of 2022,
Yes.
which means that 2023 is year one for us.
Yep.
So 2023, it is a 10-year program, but we have 6 years to build out 100% of the locations.
Are you on track for
So we have, yes,
Currently on track.
and we have 30% due by the end of 2025 across the state. The other thing that I will just say, I think when I've talked with other counties, there's been a bit of a misconception about how that funding is available to Frontier. So we get like one big chunk of money.
Right.
We get moments. So our annual allocation for the state of West Virginia, which was determined back in 2020 before this inflationary period, is about $24 million. So we get it over a monthly, and that's to do all of the RDOF across the state.
Right. So it'll be phased. I mean, I definitely understand there'll be some time to that.
Yes.
And then on your the growth or the changes or the maintenance or the upgrades, whatever you want to call it, that's taking place in West Virginia and Nicholas County, what percentage of that is RDOF and what percentage are you guys actually putting in as far as like capital investment? I'm assuming a high percentage of capital, lower all RDOF, or is it the other way? Like how much are you putting into the plate versus what you're pulling off the RDOF funding? It's free. Probably like...
Your question.
And that's actually the last question.
I I'm sorry, I couldn't hear your question.
The mixture of, like with what you've accomplished maintenance-wise, upgrade, however you want to call it, in the past, since 2022, like inside West Virginia and particularly Nicholas County, what percentage of that was RDOF versus your capital investment or working capital from your company? In other words, are we going to wait on these distributions to come out to get upgrades as we go through?
No, the Lions has been privately financed.
Okay, just curious.
So, but the RDOF program has always, was always intended to require winners to put in a lot of their own capital up front to ensure that they, meet the build-out deadlines.
Gotcha.
So, that 570 million is largely 100% private investment.
Gotcha.
I mean, but for, about $24 million of RDOF. We have won so far a small number of ARPA grants in the state, just 5 grants across the state, not a material amount of money.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions?
I'll share it.
I don't know much about internet, so
Oh, you're good.
good thing you were here. Do you have anything?
No, I'm good.
I appreciate the time and the answers, though, honestly. And I definitely, like I said, the value of just the existing infrastructure, I get that, I really do. That's awesome. It makes things go a lot quicker, and the familiarization, and you guys you led the county with the copper. So you were first, and now that actually, it automatically, it doesn't put you last, it puts you at a disadvantage because you were the first in line to deliver something better than what dial-up into Nicholas County, West Virginia. So definitely appreciate that.
Do you have anything to add while you're here?
No, just to support Allison,
Well, I very much appreciate your time.
Yes, ma'am.
If you have any,
And what's your name again? I'm sorry.
John Gold.
John, yes.
Yeah, and I can get my contact information to you. So when you have any questions, when you hear from customers, anything that I can do to track down answers locally, I absolutely want to do that as well.
I think honestly, like across the board, most people are satisfied. I mean, they like the service. It's just the downtime. I mean, we're literally talking, I think at one of Dad's outages I worked was 28 days was what they quoted him. 20, and it wasn't like, hey, it's 28 days where we give you credit back for that month since you didn't have any service. It was 28 days and then you complain about that month, that amount of time. So if they could just drive that metric down, and like I said, they told me that they didn't link tickets, which is going to send your technicians out to the same area multiple times over several days. And I personally watched that take place on, I think, 5 or 6 neighbors. Because most of them have Frontier because they enjoy it when it is up. So it's the downtime.
yeah, I went off video just because I was having connectivity issues. Can I just ask you what year that was?
It was last year, year before last. But Dad told me, and it's just one customer. I mean, I get I'm not speaking for the whole on this one, but every day for about 3 weeks he was losing internet between 12 and 3 or 9 and 12. It was a 3-hour period, and I can't remember if it began or ended at noon. And that's why I was asking about the maintenance window, if there were some upgrades going on, because you were showing how some of those service areas overlap, like Webster and Nicholas and Braxton and Nicholas and Clay and Nicholas. There could be a project going on or some work going on in that area, because I know there's crews out in Webster County right now. I believe it's Webster. That's something going on over there might be inhibiting or bringing down his service.
Yes, sometimes things out of the county, because of our service territory have impacts. So, certainly Jordan and John will give you my information. You can always contact me. This is not me providing any sort of, special inside track. I give my telephone number to everyone, so feel free to use it if you've got issues. We would very much like to have your support. We'd like to talk to you, to put some around the bone of that MOU. What I will tell you is that when the window opens, it is kind of in really good shape, and that we're ready to get it in and be at the front of the line for funding for your community.
outside of the maintenance window work and being time to repair. That would do a lot. As I said, they love it when it's up. And the value's there, huge value. Very cost conscious, especially with some of the income levels we have in the county.
Sure. Understood. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, thank you again so much for having me and letting me participate by video. I really appreciate it. I had 24 hours of terrible travel yesterday, so
Thank you.
Debbie and everything, it's been horrible.
Okay. Anything else? Okay, well, thank you all for coming in, and we'll look for your follow-up information there and go from there.
Wouldn't it be a good time for you guys to maybe come back in and we'll hit it again, and kind of track some stuff down?
At your convenience, I can get my contact information to you, particularly on service issues and that kind of thing, and then we can coordinate. Yeah.
What are you looking at for a deadline for this, like a support letter for this? What date are we chasing on that?
I'd say as soon as possible.
Understood.
Yeah.
I figured.
Yeah. But want to make
So-
sure. Oh, sorry.
I just will say, unfortunately, a support letter earns the least amount of points.
I didn't
So-
know exactly whatever it was, the support type of
Yeah.
phrase that.
But a letter of support, it earns about 2 points.
Yeah, she should.
You again, it has all of the, working together on adoption, making sure that we address areas of, historically, economically challenged areas of the community. So we'll definitely have to work together to flesh that out, but we that the MOU structure to make sure that we get
We actually have another provider coming to provide us service here. We're spending about $8,000 a month, a little over 8, so only 10. This. I mean, and you can see she's cutting out so you can't really hear what she's saying. But when it works, it's amazing. It really is. And there's a digital equity. I'm actually supposed to meet with the lady, and I'm horrible with names. And they have a lot of these metrics, I think, that you guys are seeking and asking for. Underserved areas, the ages, things like that. So it's, give me a quick second.
Annie Stroud.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm horrible with names, yes, but I know faces.
Annie Stroud.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm actually supposed to have a meeting with her in about a week or 2.
Yeah.
And it's just on some like product or internet training and things like that for a county.
Yes,
residents.
right.
Yeah.
For specific populations and to promote adoption.
Yep.
Yeah.
Great.
Great. Good. Good.
But definitely have to give you some feedback, constructive and positive.
Thank you.
Huh?
Okay, well, thank you all for your time, and we'll go on to our next appointment here.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Yes,
bye-bye.
ma'am. Bye-bye. Even if they push out that six.
Hey, John.
How you doing, sir?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Good. Do have a lease with the Nicholas Memorial Golf Course, Inc. If you'd like to take one, pass one down. This is we need to consider a renewal with them on that. Basically, it's just for the, the area of the golf course itself.
This is the present lease.
This is the present lease. One thing about it, it was started in 2019 with 4 renewals. And so this will require a newly written.
So Sal-
we have 1 more year.
Sally, Park Manager Stover, I'm trying to speak more like Garrett, because it's more professional. Park Manager Stover is working on a new one. She had one, the one from us was 2019, she had one from 2021, I believe. And I
Park?
said that,
The park has one at the golf course?
they had a copy of one that she had worked on to update. She didn't
Okay.
actually specifically have one. And I sat down with their president, Pat,
Mm-hmm.
the other day, spoke with him, and they are wanting to do a 3-year renewal. So we're gonna do some augmentation to this, update it, and then add in a 3-year renewal with the option of 5% annually as a standard contract increase each year. They're setting at $4,130.51 per year. So that would be the current rate, and then we would have the option as any other lease renewal to add in 5% annually.
I would propose 5% the first year too.
Yeah, we were gonna add that in.
Yeah.
This is the current as in what they're actually expiring out on June 30th of this year. So he was actually gonna cut a check as soon as we gave him the amount.
What I would say is our previous legal counsel hasn't gave us a copy of this yet to edit, so perhaps we just table this to the next meeting, incorporate those things, which all sound fine to me at least, and then maybe we can just consider it the next meeting.
And I'd like to transfer this responsibility back over to the park. I guess at some point in time, there was a disagreement that came to the commission.
Yes, it did.
And I'd like to transfer it back to the park and to be executed with the rest of them annually.
I'd like to keep it in place. What do you think?
I think maybe the park could be an integral part of it, but I think the final decision on the lease ought to be to us.
So then, what's the difference in this and the rest of the user agreements? Little League, 4-H, Fair, Valley Fest?
They're all temporary and they have 24, they have the true lease.
What do you think it ought to be?
Park, that goes out the rest of them. In case in point, their newest one is 2019, 5 years old.
Yeah, it had 4 renewals on it. Yeah. Yeah.
So it was,
But that's just-
it was a yearly, it wasn't a 5-year lease to begin with? It was
It's,
a yearly lease with renewal?
If that's with the commission, all you could enter into is a 1-year lease, which is why I would have the renewals.
Yes, so 1-year lease, July of 2019. The lessee shall have the right to renew this lease for a period of 1 year for 4 consecutive and sequential years, for a total period of 5 years.
I don't really, I mean, honestly, I'm not married to either idea. It's just I was looking at it for the ease and convenience. Not that that would give them control, but it would just be the responsibility of making sure it's delivered and making sure it's
Would it be a lifespan?
So I don't really, honestly, if you don't mind us being out, it doesn't really matter either way.
Yeah, let's table like you
Let's
said,
table
look
it.
at it, because there's a couple things I'd like to maybe put in.
Okay.
Maybe it could go to the park board first with recommendation to you all for final approval.
I was just looking at it procedurally.
And we
She
can maybe
issues out all
turn it
this
into
stuff.
a user agreement, a yearly user
Right.
basis, kind of like that. It's just the real estate part of it. The lease kind of gives them their board to exclusively run it their way. If we do it to the park, would that create any hostilities like you're not going to tell us what to do? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what it resulted last time. I don't really know if they had the grounds to stand on anyway, so it might not have, should have been a problem to begin with. I'm not totally sure, so it may have already been protected even the way it was. But I think it's fair to say table it. We'll work on it with, hopefully get the editable copy of this and some other things. Is there any objection to tabling this agenda item?
No.
Okay. That being said, I did forget at the beginning, we did get a thank you letter from the Nicholas County Empowerment Corporation for as a thank you for the contribution to the programs they have there in Richwood, including the pantry.
I'm sorry, what?
They had a float in the Richwood Parade.
Did they?
Yeah.
So, I'm sorry. We was all
A thank you letter.
doing extra stuff right there. A thank you letter from the Nicholas County Empowerment Corporation for our contribution from the previous meeting. So definitely appreciate their working with us and what
That
all
was
they
to the
do.
food pantry.
Yes.
Do you think, it had to be on our next agenda, Laura, that we should maybe put some toward the food banks here in Summersville too?
As requested. I mean, it might be different financial situations. She
Yeah.
said they were losing money.
Yeah, as requested. We could put out something. Because you got Legacy People's Place,
We get them there.
Presbyterian Church, well, not for the food pantry.
Right, but we do.
We do fund them.
Help fund them. But I was thinking the Bread of Life.
Yeah, it needs to be case by case. You're right. Don't get me wrong.
They do food, you know what?
Right.
And there's another one which was okay.
I would like to put on the record my opposition to the proposed 15.4 base rate increase by Appalachian Power, which will affect about 1/3 of the county citizens here. What is it? Well, that's, yeah.
Because you don't have,
Not needed.
it's not these bad about Lookout as in the other.
Potomac Basin.
No, that is Appalachian Power.
Yes. That way,
Yes, because Mon Power First Energy.
Yes.
Yeah, I may have said different,
you're
but
right.
let me state one more
You're
time.
right.
With Appalachian Power's request
But it would
for a
be about
15.4 base rate increase.
Rack that guy.
Frankly, what they're requesting the county and state taxpayers to finance is a failed sell-off of some assets in Kentucky. We're not in the business of providing power, and I don't believe that the county citizens should have to finance bad planning. So I just want to put my position on the record.
Can we make a motion to draft a letter?
Absolutely.
I make a motion to draft a letter that says.
Well, it's not on the agenda. But it's not.
Well, you're not taking any legal action, it's just a letter of protest.
Commissioner can. Well,
Fair enough.
I mean, we can announce our intent.
You can do that, or you could, you can do it at the next meeting
Yep.
and do a resolution.
Perhaps let's do a resolution next meeting.
When's
The
the
PSC
PSC by?
has 1 year to investigate. Now, they don't have to take the full 1 year, but I would say a 2-year time period would be better.
Be a good agenda item.
So if you would, on the next agenda, please add a resolution in opposition of Appalachian Power's request of a base rate increase. And I'll help you, we can help you with writing that up. In fact, I think Kanawha County is talking about doing the same thing, so we might even have a template of their verbiage that we could
I think they
go back and do our own.
They've done one before, I think, I read.
Okay.
I think it was water, though. Probably spoke out in opposition.
And a little bit of good news while we're at it. The Public Service Commission did approve the provisional plans of the 150 megawatt solar project that we've discussed here quite a few times here in Nicholas County before the commission, and of course the Board of Education also. So that was a major milestone for that project. So I'm glad to see that it met the criteria to pass the Public Service Commission's
What's the next
criteria.
step on that?
They are now, with that hurdle passed, really, we're probably looking at final approval with the United States Department of Energy. That was the reason for the site visit and all that. But they've already been conditionally approved, and there is a decent comfort level that everything should be met. The biggest liability I understood was the PSC, and so with the Public Service Commission's approval, I think that took it a long way right there.
There's a very good article on the Metro News on that.
What's that?
The solar farm.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay, I didn't see that yet.
Is it one project or two?
So, there are 2 locations.
Oh,
They're tied together.
They are tied together. And yeah, basically it's 2 locations pretty close to each other. It's just 2 different landowners.
oh.
You have Nicholas Solar Project, and then what is the one on the county line?
Deep something or,
You're right. It's something like that. I can find
It's
out.
on the business one.
But either way, definitely.
The first one's about 125 to 150 megawatts, and the second one's 100?
Yes.
Be 250 total.
So the 150 total on Nicholas Solar, which is located on a lease of Lexington Coal property, is what went through the PSC. So the other project that we can't think of the name of right now has not been before the PSC yet.
Deep Lake.
Deep Lake.
Yeah, deeply.
Gee, just like Somerville.
Just bam. Also, we need to go back to our terms of office expiring.
Can we go into executive session to talk about a real estate matter related to that?
To the airport authority? Oh, okay. I'm good on that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. If there's no opposition to that,
I'll make a motion to go into executive session.
okay, we have a motion to enter executive session pursuant to West Virginia Code 6-9A-4, with Commissioner Chapman making the motion. Who all would you like to stay in the room? Legal counsel?
Accusing myself. Fill a cup of water.
I'll make him come back.
I'm hurrying.
John needs to go over something, I think, in executive session too, so he can probably stay.
Okay. And would you state your reasoning for the record, just so we have
Possibly,
contractual matters?
yes,
So what I'm thinking.
possibly.
Okay.
Yes.
So we do have a motion to enter an executive session pursuant to West Virginia Code 6-9A-4. First off concerning real estate matters, second off concerning contractual matters in regard to both the Nicholas County Airport Authority as well as Nicholas County Homeland Security and Emergency Management. That being said, those to keep in the room would be Director John McGinnis,
Greg.
Legal Counsel, and County Clerk Robert Payne. It is 11:02 a.m. Is there any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against? The motion does carry. We do stand in executive session. Okay, it is 11:56 a.m. There are no decisions made during our time during executive session. Is there a motion to exit executive session pursuant to 6-9A-4?
Motion.
Motion is on the floor. Again, it is 11:56 a.m. Motion is made. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those against, the motion does carry. Is there any other commissioners' comments?
You're going to table the appointments to the airport authority?
Yes.
Yes, we have a motion to table the appointments to the Nicholas County Airport Authority
Motion.
and the establishment of those terms. That motion's on the floor. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against, the motion does carry. Again, any more commissioners' comments?
Just want to say good job to the folks for the fair and the Cherry River Festival. Both were a outstanding success, a lot of attendance, and just a lot of hard work.
Thanks for video, man. For us that couldn't do that.
That's it.
Very good. Everybody's favorite motion is there a motion to adjourn this regularly scheduled meeting of the Nicholas County Commission. Today is August 7th, 2024, and it is 11:57 a.m. Motion's on the floor. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against, the motion does carry. We do stand adjourned.